This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Welcome to Usapang Bayan. Ako po si George Chua kasama ang aking co-host na si Rach Marquez. Pag-usapan po natin ang iba't ibang issue na kinahaharap ng mga kandidato sa darating na eleksyon at tatalakayin po natin ang iba't ibang pangyayari sa ating bayan.
Ikinagagalak po naming makapanayam ang dating DOJ Secretary na naging Commissioner din po ng CHR at isa po sa mga tatakbong senador para sa darating na eleksyon, former Secretary of Justice Leila de Lima. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, George, Reyes, and to your televiewers. It's good to be here.
Welcome to the show, ma'am. And maybe we should first let the people know a little bit about your background because I think they all know you as DOJ Secretary, but not too many people know you, what you've done before that, and all of these things. So maybe we'll hear from you.
Yes, of course. Yung public life ko, well, before I became the CHR chairperson, I was an election law practitioner. Election law practitioner for several years. So I used to deal with politicians, although I've never been a politician. Until now, I'm not at all a politician. And then, in 2008, very unexpectedly, I was appointed as the chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights by the former President, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. And then, quite unexpectedly, again in 2010, President Pinoy appointed me as Secretary of Justice. So, ito pong mga itong pagpasok ko sa public life, hindi ko po talaga to inaasahan. Akala ko po, I'll just be a lawyer for the rest of my life. Because being a lawyer is just really my sole ambition when I was a child. Although it's been my only ambition since childhood because I idolized so much my father, my late father, Attorney Vicente de Lima, former Commissioner of COMELEC. So maliit pa po ako. Gustong-gusto ko na ho maging abogado. So, naging abogado po ako. And then I thought, I'm just gonna be a lawyer. So, everything that happened to me and is happening to me now, this is all really beyond my dreams, beyond my expectation. At probinsyana po ako.
Ma'am, yung nabanggit niyo ho na si GMA ho ang nag-appoint sa inyo sa pagiging CHR. Ano ho ba ang masasabi niyo tungkol dun sa yung sinasabi ng UN Human Rights Commission about her case that should be reviewed?
Alam niyo po, nakakagulat yun. Although, as you said, George, it's just really an opinion from that working group. Pero nakakagulat po, lalo na yung sinasabi nila na yung paglilitis daw po kay former president at yung kanyang yung detention niya ay lumalabag sa international human rights or sa international law. Mukha hong nakakalimutan nila na yung paglitis po sa former president at yung kanyang status ngayon na isa siyang detainee ay alinsunod lamang po sa ating saligang batas at sa ating batas. This is just really in accordance with the law, because it so happened that she is charged with a non-bailable offense, which is plunder. Na, she's facing plunder case before the Sandigan Bayan, and the Constitution says that while the general rule is bail is a matter of right, but it's an exception. Yung situation niya is an exception because she is charged with a capital offense, with a non-bailable offense, and the evidence of guilt has been proven to be strong, and therefore she is not entitled to bail. So, malinaw po yan sa batas natin. And since meron tayong sariling batas, yung domestic law natin is superior over any international law principle. Tsaka yung mga, nakita ko po yung opinion nila. They were just citing general principles of international human rights. Those cannot prevail over domestic law and our own constitution. So medyo po, with due respect to the members of that working group, and I'm familiar with the workings of the working group because I used to be a CHR chair. I attended several conferences in Geneva, the UN Human Rights Council. And mukha atang hindi nila, hindi nila nakuha yung punto na sinusunod naman po natin ng batas at dumadaan naman po si Ginang Arroyo ng tamang proseso alinsunod sa batas ng Pilipinas.
Secretary, yung mga departments po na na-handle niyo, such as the Justice Department, CHR, tapos COMELEC lawyer din po kayo.
Election lawyer.
Election lawyer po
Yes.
kayo. Very stressful po yun eh. How were you able to handle the stress and the challenges nung sa mga departments po na yun?
Well, I really don't know. I just psych myself. But I've been used to it. I've been used to stressful life, even if I was still a practitioner, especially election law practitioner. Election law practice can be very stressful, especially during, election period and during a canvassing period. Emotions are high during those periods, and then you represent a particular candidate against another candidate, and these candidates would have their loyal supporters, and talagang I had several experiences na talagang very, very stressful. So it started during that, in that life of mine as an election law practitioner. So what came next? CHR chairperson, and then and ultimately as DOJ secretary, nasanay na po tayo. My attitude always is that first things first. And then I psych myself every morning. When I wake up, after a little prayer, I just psych myself. Ano na naman kaya ang susunod? And then I just say, Lord, just give me the strength to confront whatever will come my way again this very day. And then first things first, ano yung pinakaunang problema na dapat asikasuhin, that's what
Priority na lang.
That's what I do.
Ma'am, as Secretary of Justice, what would you say would be your most significant accomplishment or contribution?
Well, I can cite several. I can cite a few. Of course, many people know this, na yung sa PDAF. We started it because the whistleblowers led by Ben-Hur Luy came to us. Specifically, his parents came to me, assisted by their counsel then, Attorney Baligod, at sinasabi nga na si Ben-Hur Luy was being detained against his will by the camp of Janet Napoles. So it started, hindi namin akalain na yung supposedly simple lang na pag-rescue ng someone who claims to have been illegally detained ay lumaki ng lumaki. Nung una nga, nung nakausap ko si Ben-Hur, I could not believe what he was telling me. Na ganun kaano yung mga dinescribe niya kung paano nila ginawa with Mrs. Napoles yung mga ganon. Yung pakikipagkontsaba sa mga members of Congress and also certain senators. So it was so big na sabi ko, totoo kaya ito? And it turned out, totoo. And so, and now we have supposedly 3 sitting senators in jail except for one who was able to to get out
Yes.
on bail and by the Supreme Court. That was unprecedented. You know, it was not supposed to be the Supreme Court that would grant him bail. It's supposed to be the trial court, which is the Sandigan Bayan. So yun po, yung tungkol nga po sa PDAF, and then yung sa Bilibid, National Bilibid
Yes.
Prison. Remember that?
Yes.
That I had to personally
go.
lead
Yes.
the raid because it was actually several months in the making when we had several confidential interagency meeting between and among relevant agencies, not just Bucor, NBI, PIDEA. And we got all sorts of intel reports that these drug inmates somehow were able to continue their
business.
drug trade, your drug business, while confined within the National Penitentiary. So sabi ko, hindi pwede yan. And then, na-discover nga namin that they were really living luxurious lifestyle within. Sabi ko, what kind of a prison is this? So sabi ko, we have to do something about it. So we had to raid Bilibid, and we had to transfer from Bilibid prison to NBI temporarily to really disable them, to disconnect them from their network. So that was, some people say that was something very bold,
Yes.
but it had to be
Done.
it had to be done.
Yes. Ma'am, you mentioned po about the whistleblowers, no? Si Ben Hurluy po and another witness, si Sunyas, just recently expressed their fear of their safety when you left DOJ. My second question, na-mention nyo rin naman po yung sa Bilibid. Do you think nagko-continue pa rin po yun ngayon?
Well, yung sa Bilibid, I'd like to think na maybe we were hindi pa 100% because the whole point was to make Bilibid drug-free. Because it was simply unacceptable. The situation was untenable that these inmates continue to ply their drug trade. So, unti-unti namin ho yun in-address. I'd like to say na malaking pagbabago na rin, lalo na nung transfer na namin yung mga big drug inmates to a separate facility, a more secure facility within the National Bilibid Prison. Pero siguro, if you ask me kung totally na eradicate na namin, I cannot really tell you. I don't think so. Baka meron pa rin konti, pero at least to a
Nabawasan.
very substantial degree, nabawasan na.
How about sa whistleblowers, ma'am? Yung safety po
Yung
ni na
safety.
Ben Hurluy and the other whistleblowers.
Well, I was just talking to JJ Justiniano, the former USEC JJ
Yes.
Justiniano, who tendered his resignation very recently. And he said he was able to talk to Ben Hurluy yesterday. He specifically, or he intentionally went to the Sandigan Bayan and talked to the whistleblowers and assured them personally na kahit wala na kami pareho, ay sisiguraduhin pa rin namin na they are being taken care of, they are being secured properly by the WPP, the Witness Protection Program. Commitment naman ho namin sa kanila yan. I will continue to monitor that case and also to monitor their situation because we owe it to them because naglakas loob sila. Kung hindi dahil sa kanila, hindi sana natin na-discover
Yes.
itong PDAF scam.
Yung sa PDAF na ho yan, marami hong nagsasabi na parang napansin nila ang oposisyon ang parang
Ayun yung sinasabi nilang
selective justice.
That's one of the issues being raised against
Ano ho ba
me.
ang masasabi nyo tungkol dyan? At nagkataon lang na lahat ho sila ay
Opposition
oposisyon? Or
members.
paano ho ba ang sistema ngayon dyan dun sa mga ongoing pa na mga investigasyon
Wala
at cases?
pong katotohanan yan. Yung sinasabi nilang selective justice. Alam ko po na isa yan sa mga binabato sa akin na mga issues ng mga detractors. Pero I'd like to take this opportunity
Yes, please.
na talagang sasabihin ko po sa inyo na hindi po yan totoo. Kasi ho, unang-una, nung kinuha namin itong mga impormasyon na ito galing sa mga whistleblowers at nung in-assess namin, in-evaluate namin at nag-case build-up po kami, yung NBI team po, yung special, yung STF, yung Special Task Force na trumabaho po dyan, ay never po nila yan ginawang consideration. Wala po silang pakialam nun dun sa sa listahan ng binigay nila Ben-Hur Loy at kinumpara doon po sa COA Special Audit Report covering the years 2009 to 2011, wala po, never pong naging consideration yan kung sino yung allies, kung sino yung nasa opposition. Now, it just so happened na karamihan ho, dun sa mga nakasuhan, ay yung so-called na members ng opposition o hindi mga kaalyado ng current administration. Pero hindi ho namin yung kasalanan. Meron din yung ilan-ilan na mga so-called allies na kasama dun po sa second and the third batches. Pero hindi ho namin kasalanan yan na konti lang yung mga so-called allies kasi yun ang napatunayan nung nag-case build-up na po, nung nag-evidence gathering na. Kasi yung pinakabilin ho sa akin dyan ng Pangulo is that sisiguraduhin nyo na yung mga rini-refer nyo sa ombudsman ay yung talagang may mga basehan. Huwag kayong file lang kayo ng kaso, basta lang makapag-file ng kaso. Now, it so happen nga na yung mga nakuhanan ng sapat na ebidensya ay yung mga karamihan ho ay hindi yung mga sinasabing mga allies. Pero meron din hong mga allies. So, wala pong ganun. Walang ganung conscious na pinili.
Doon sa mga senator ho na naakusahan at nasa bilangguan nga, wala ho bang ibang senador na pangalan na kasama doon sa dokumento? Silang tatlo lamang?
Yun po kasi yung sa 2009 up to 2011 na nasa COA report. At at sila rin po yung nakumpleto yung mga supporting evidence. Lalo na po yung mga documentary support na mga nakalap namin from COA, nakalap namin from DBM, nakalap namin dun sa grupo ng mga whistleblowers. Sila yung mga, saka it so happened na ito pong tatlo, sila ho talaga yung mga pinakamalaki.
I see.
Na based on the figures, based on the list of Ben-Hur Loy, kasi rini-record ni Ben-Hur Loy noon, yung mga so-called kickbacks, mga so-called commissions.
Right.
At it so happened na sila yung pinakamalaki.
Well, it's good to hear na patas naman pala ang labanan. Tungkol naman ho doon sa Bilibid case,
Yes.
ano ho ang nangyari doon sa mga taong taga-Bilibid, no? Na naparusahan na ba sila? Na-file na ba ng mga kaso yan for tolerating all of these
Oh
things?
yes, may ilan-ilan na po yung mga nakasuhan administratively. Yung napatunayan na mga nagpabaya, napatunayan na nakipagkonsyabahan. So ilan-ilan na po mga na-relieve na mga officials ng Bucor, including yung superintendent. And then meron hong mga na-suspend. And then meron hong mga rini-assign na muna po. Kasi syempre, mga ganyan na mga kalokohan within the Bilibid, hindi naman ho yan mangyayari kung walang kakontsaba.
Yes, that's true.
And that's why we really pushed for the Bucor modernization law to upgrade the compensation, lalo na ng mga jail guards. Kasi dati ho kasi, before the passage of the Bucor modernization law, napakalaki nung gap nung mga sahod nung mga BJMP guards. BJMP is under DILG. BJMP sila yung nag-guards ng mga detainees, yung mga awaiting trial. Pero yung mga convicted prisoners na nasa Bilibid, Bucor, napakalaki po. Masyado pong mababa yung mga sa Bucor jail guards. Pero ginawa na ho ng paraan yan under the Bucor modernization law, in-upgrade na po para ho less po sila prone or susceptible to corruption.
At this point, we'd like to go for a station break. Sa aming pong pagbabalik, makakasama pa rin natin si former Justice Secretary Laila De Lima. So please stay tuned.